All right, guys, we're nearly done. This is the third lecture I want you to listen to, the third note set I want you to do, okay? And it's about Wilson's 14 points. So, essentially, good thing about World War I, you don't have to know any battles. You don't have to know any fronts. You don't have to know really anything. We go from the causes of the war, what's happening at home, to let's close it out. Okay, so Wilson's 14 points is the end of the war. It's what are we doing now? Okay, so let's take a look at it in detail. All right, so everybody's going to meet in France at Versailles. Okay, not Versailles. I know what it looks like, but it's pronounced Versailles. Okay, and at Versailles, we're going to discuss what we're going to do. How are we going to punish Germany? Are we going to punish Germany? Okay. And so everybody kind of has an idea of what they want peace to look like. Okay. And the United States President, Woodrow Wilson, is going to create 14 points. Now, the 14 points is a direct response to what started World War I. Okay. So let's fix all of these problems that got us here in the first place. Let's create lasting peace. Let's not just say, "Ooh, you're in trouble, punish you and move on." No. So let's take a look at what he wants to do. First of all, no secret treaties. Remember, in the main causes, one of them was alliances. Okay? Stop doing that. Stop saying, "Well, she's my friend under the table." No. Okay? No secret treaties. Next, the seas shall be free. Okay? During peace and war, you can't violate free trade. You can't sink our ships anymore. Remember, unrestricted German submarine warfare was an issue. Think back to the sinking of the Lusitania. Think back to just the use of U-boats and submarines. That was a big issue for us. Okay? Removing economic barriers related to trade. Again, free trade was an issue. The reduction of armies. Remember, think back to the main issue. One of them was militarism. Hey, you don't need a really big army because when you have one, you want to use it. So chill out. Next, independence for colonies. Another reason for Maine was imperialism. So you can see as you go through these 14 points, they are all addressing the issues that got us to World War I to begin with. Let's stop doing that stuff. Okay, so pretty smart if you ask me. Now, we don't end up passing Wilson's 14 points. Instead, we sign the Treaty of Versailles. Now let's take a look at the right side and see what the Treaty of Versailles is. Germany must admit the war was their fault. Germany must disarm their army. Germany must hand over their colonies. Germany must pay $30 billion in reparations. Germany's navy must be reduced. Germany's forbidden from having an air force. So essentially, this is let's all rag on Germany. Let's blame them. Let's punish them. Let's reduce them to nothing. Okay, so essentially what we have here is the Treaty of Versailles, folks being petty towards Germany. They decide not to address the issues as a whole, but rather to simply punish Germany. Okay, so those are the big differences between Wilson's 14 points and the Treaty of Versailles. Okay, now there is one thing that Wilson proposes that does actually get passed with the Treaty of Versailles, and that is this idea of a League of Nations. Okay, now the League of Nations is this organization designed to keep peace. Okay, so essentially it encourages folks to talk it out, right? Air out your problems instead of fighting. Okay, now there are some issues with that, but bottom line, that is what's similar. That's Wilson's idea that actually gets included in the Treaty of Versailles. Now let's kind of get to the next part. Here's the thing. Not everybody in America wants to join the League of Nations. Okay, because the folks involved, the European nations, all kind of have to talk it out. Folks feared that the United States would be way more involved in European conflicts in the future. Okay, essentially this is getting us involved in that alliance, right, which was one of the causes. So we are going to see the growth of an isolationist movement. hey, let's stop worrying about Europe's business again. Let's go back into our little shell and not get involved in European conflicts. Okay. So for this reason, because of these isolationists, we actually will not ratify the Treaty of Versailles. We will not join the League of Nations. Okay. Here is a political cartoon that kind of is from an isolationist viewpoint, right? Uncle Sam has his hands tied by the League of Nations, showing that we're kind of controlled by it. We're getting brought into European issues, which is not good. So you can kind of understand this viewpoint. Okay, let's look at another. This one is saying, hey, is the bridge actually going to work? Are we going to fill this gap if the United States doesn't join? And the answer is no. We came up with this great idea of the League of Nations, and by not joining it, we're kind of dooming it from the start. Okay, so lots of folks actually cite the Treaty of Versailles as the main cause for the Second World War, right? This anger and resentment that builds up in Germany will lead to the eventual rise of Hitler and the Nazi Party. Okay. Bottom line, though, Wilson's 14 points. You got to know them. All right, that's the last section that you guys need to go through for the notes. We'll come back on Friday and do the Red Scare. All right.